Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. Elmira police are looking for a man suspected of stealing hundreds of dollars worth of steaks from a grocery store over the weekend. The Elmira Police Department is asking for your help in identifying this man. The person in this photo, they say, stole $250 worth of premium steaks from the Wise Market in Elmira. He did this by stuffing the stolen meat in his bag while only purchasing drinks at the checkout line at 3 p.m. on July 4th. If you have information on this incident or you can identify this man, please contact the Elmira Police Department using the number on your screen. A fire in Watkins Glen has left a motel in ruins. Firefighters report the Chieftain Motel on State Route 14 was full of flames when they got there around 11 a.m. Sunday morning. 7 departments were called out to the fire that spread through several rooms of the motel. No one was injured in the fire in Watkins Glen. The cause is still under investigation. 'Tis the season for ice cream, and the Steuben County Conference and Visitors Bureau is looking for your help to add a new stop on the Steuben County Ice Cream Trail. Our Maggie Hall visited some of the contenders to get the scoop.
As the summer heats up, the Steuben Ice Cream Trail is here to cool you down. Steuben County is asking ice cream lovers to help pick another spot on the trail. With 19 options on the voting list, it seems there's no lack of local favorites to choose from. Dippity Doodahs was named Travel Awaits Best Small Town Ice Cream Shop in 2021.
I'm here at Big Fox's across the street neighbors Dippity Doodahs, and I'm actually enjoying one of the 30 homemade flavors that they have here. This is my personal favorite, coffee.
Ice cream isn't the only thing going on here at this option on the voting list. Beartown Peaches and Cream. There's a whole market here to explore with local fruits, plants, and veggies. Owner Michelle Stacy told me that Peaches and Cream is a staple in the community and a one-stop shop for families. And is the Hokey Pokey what it's all about? You'll have to decide for yourself by visiting Hokey Pokey Ice Cream in downtown Corning. High school sweethearts Lorraine and Randy Stanton have been running Hokey Pokey for decades and make almost everything from scratch.
Last 33 years here in Corning, we've served this community, and well, we've been in every neighborhood, every aspect. We've watched 3 generations of families grow up, and I think we're on our 4th by now.
These are only 3 of the 19 options for the Steuben County Ice Cream Trail that you can vote for. You can find the complete voting list and cast your vote by going to the link on your screen. No matter which place is chosen, one thing is for sure. There's certainly no shortage of ice cream here in Steuben County. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
You will no longer have to wear a mask if you visit some of New York State prisons. The New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision announced that the mask mandate for the department's correctional facilities has been lifted. The entrance screening policy also is no longer in effect. The department is still requiring a negative COVID test and proof of vaccination for people over the age of 5 to visit the state prisons. Police are investigating what led to a deadly mass shooting at a 4th of July parade. Those who attended the event are reliving the moments that shots rang out. Madeline Rivera has more.
We're learning more details about the person of interest in Monday's mass shooting at a July 4th parade. This Illinois community now trying to process this tragedy.
I heard the screams of all the people that were being shot and people frantically picking up their children.
Residents in Highland Park, Illinois, reliving the moments a gunman opened fire at yesterday's 4th of July parade, killing at least 6 people and injuring dozens more. Hundreds fled as the gunshots rang out, many grabbing children and families running to hide in stores and behind dumpsters.
All of a sudden, bang, 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 and you kept hearing the shots go off and off and off. It must have lasted about 2 minutes.
Police taking a person of interest into custody hours after the shooting took place. He was an aspiring rapper who posted songs and videos online that appeared to have violent themes. Investigators now working to determine a motive. They're also combing through surveillance video to piece together a timeline of this tragedy.
We need to start identifying these people before they do this because they're And this guy's showing they telegraphed these things long before.
Monday's attack comes after several recent mass shootings that rocked the country. Residents say they never expected to see one in this tight-knit community.
It definitely hits a lot harder when, it's not only your hometown, but it's also like right in front of you.
Dozens of law enforcement officers rushed to the scene. Many of them ran toward the gunshots, likely saving more lives. In Highland Park, Illinois, Malta Rivera, Fox News.
A Ukrainian-American businessman heads to Ukraine to deliver supplies to the troops fighting for their country. Ihor Koval and his children belong to a charity organization connecting American donations to the front lines. Nate Foy has more.
This Kharkiv school is reduced to rubble. Local officials say no one was killed in an early morning Russian missile strike. Those lucky enough to survive Russian shelling in Sloviansk are still recovering. 6 civilians were killed Sunday. After taking full control of Luhansk province, Russia now pushes for all of Donbass with superior firepower. As Ukraine waits for Western military aid, a Ukrainian-American businessman who spent the past 30 years in Cleveland is now delivering much-needed supplies to Ukrainian forces in Donbass.
He comes to the front line and is asking warriors what do they need at that moment, passing all bureaucracy and doing this directly. This is very necessary.
Ihor Koval and his children established an American branch of the charity Evil Cannot Enter Heaven, connecting American donations to the front lines.
What drives me in general is the fight for our country. These soldiers that are up front, these young guys, I feel like I'm an older guy. I owe to them big time, big time.
Koval has already made 6 trips into Donbass, narrowly avoiding Russian shelling.
You wish to stay alive, but at that time I don't care because it's anger as well in your mind.
A level of anger previously unknown to this former businessman.
I would never thought in my life that I would have that feeling that somebody's going to die and I'll be happy. But that's war, war turns everything around in people's minds.
WNBA star Brittany Griner remains in a Russian prison. In a desperate 4th of July note to the president, she asked him to help her and other Americans detained overseas to return home. Lauren Blanchard in Washington with the latest.
While Americans celebrated their freedom, detained American WNBA star Brittany Griner sent a handwritten note to President Biden asking for help to get out of a Russian prison. Her family shared some of what she wrote, quote, "I'm terrified I might be here forever, and I realize you are dealing with so much, but please don't forget about me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home." The White House says they are.
The United States government is very, very focused on her case, as it is on the cases of other unjustly and wrongfully detained Americans around the world.
However, Griner's wife says she hasn't heard anything from the president.
Respectfully, we're over 140 days at this point. That does not work. And so I will not be quiet anymore. They are not moving. They are not doing anything. And so my wife is struggling, and we have to help her.
Griner was detained in February before the start of the war with Ukraine for allegedly bringing vape cartridges with a CBD oil through Moscow's airport. The charges carry a possible 10-year prison sentence. The U.S. says Griner is wrongfully detained. Moscow says they are not involved in the case.
As far as any verdicts go, only the court can do it.
The trial began last week, but the odds are not in her favor, with 99% of criminal cases in Russia ending in a conviction.
Griner's next day in court is this Thursday. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Travelers at America's airports got home later than expected, but not as many were stranded as earlier this weekend. Flyers yesterday saw more than 200 cancellations, according to FlightAware. Now that's sharply down from the days leading up to the holiday weekend. Between Thursday and yesterday, more than 2,200 cancellations and 25,000 delays took place. But it still was a weekend of flightmares for thousands of Americans who found themselves stranded. Charles Watson has more from Atlanta.
I can't even get home now. I don't know how I'm going to get home.
And he's not alone. Thousands of folks heading out for the 4th of July holiday found themselves stranded at airports and hotels with staffing shortages and bad weather forcing airlines to cut service throughout the weekend. Since Friday, more than 20,000 flights have been delayed in the U.S. and almost 2,000 others canceled. It caused chaos at airports, with passengers complaining of poor communication and major surcharges to change flights. Some say it was enough to make this the last vacation of the season.
I had to get back to see family. I haven't seen them since COVID, so it really wasn't a question. We just had to do it. But we won't be going away for the rest of the summer.
Despite the delays and cancellations, this was still one of the biggest travel weekends in years. Friday was the busiest day. Almost 2.5 million passengers screened by the TSA, the most in a single day since the pandemic started. Experts say it demonstrates a clear need for airlines to regroup and reorganize, with consumer complaints against airlines up by more than 300% and demand for travel only expected to increase in the coming months.
We're always dealing with weather issues, but this staff shortage and the fact that we don't have enough pilots, we're not paying them enough, that's poor management.
Adding to staffing troubles, pilot strikes around the world, including Scandinavian Airlines, which filed for bankruptcy on Tuesday. In Atlanta, Charles Watson, Fox News.
Your complete forecast is next, plus the latest business news. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Those gloomy and rainy skies held on for much of your Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Alyssa Triplett, and captured over in Binghamton was those low-lying clouds that were moving their way through, bringing some light showers and even some isolated thunderstorms as we step into the evening hours. So do note that we'll maybe keep a stray shower or two, but we're definitely trending to see those showers move out. Some cloudy skies and some foggy conditions around tomorrow morning, especially as dew points will remain high, as well as continue to see that moisture will linger behind that weak cold front, and then we will trend to keep the temperatures a bit warmer over the next few days. Now, isolated thunder again still into the mix here this evening, but for the most part, we are looking at gradual clearing to bring in even some sunshine possible for your Wednesday afternoon, all dependent on how that fog will be able to burn off and cloud cover as we'll see those temperatures try to turn around. But there's a good amount of moisture in the atmosphere to be noted here the next few days, and that will continue to bring in a chance for some showers as we head into your Thursday. Now, most of the shower and thunderstorm activity is going to be off to the south of us across Pennsylvania, but a few that could just spread its way over that New York border and bring in some showers to the Elmira and Corning area late on Thursday into Friday morning. But then generally, as you look at the forecast from even today all the way through the weekend, it's looking generally beautiful with temperatures near seasonal. A little humid to start here the early parts of the later parts of the weekend, but the weekend or the week and then the weekend is where the comfortable conditions will be able to fall. Excuse me there. Now, looking at the forecast here, you see that cloud cover, potential some fog cover through the Finger Lakes there possible. There is more that thinning of the cloud cover into the afternoon hours to bring in some sunshine. And then as we head into your Wednesday forecast, you will see an uptick in some of that shower and thunderstorm activity closer to Williamsport and State College. But as mentioned, a few of those showers late by Thursday could be able to move their way into the Elmira and Corning area. So we'll keep an eye on that small threat. But overall, as we head into your Wednesday forecast, what we will be watching is that high temperatures will climb to about 80 degrees. We will see that through the Finger Lakes. You still see some of that shower icon there pop up, mainly early morning hours, and more of just maybe a misting or drizzle due to that, again, that extra moisture that is within the air. So slightly below average for your Wednesday as we try to rebound back above average. But what we're going to see is that even with us hanging on to the 80s, it is still potentially going to feel a little warmer. We have maximum dew points, so it's not going to sit into those mid 60s all day long, but this is the maximum threshold that we are expected to hit Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So as we will warm Wednesday and Thursday, do note it might be a little sticky there, but look at the weekend forecast. Saturday and Sunday, dew points into the 50s, and as we we head into the weekend forecast, you will be able to see that it's going to be a bit quiet. So as you see, there is some isolated storm chances there both Thursday and Friday. That's more of just your Thursday night into your Friday morning, and then skies will be clearing. We'll hit 83 both Thursday and Friday, so with those dew points sitting in the mid-60s at times, a little sticky, but then very, very comfortable. Lower 80s, upper 70s in place both Saturday and Sunday. Start planning those outdoor weekend activities, but it looks like we could have a change up in the weather pattern as we head into early parts of next work week.
The TSA is screening more passengers. An airline files for Chapter 11, and a new feature on a social media platform lets other users know exactly where you are. CJ Papa has that and more in today's Business Briefs.
The Transportation Security Administration says it screened the most passengers in a single day since the start of the pandemic. Last Friday, July 1st, the TSA screened close to 2.5 million people at U.S. airports. The last time the number was higher, way back on February 14, 2020, a month before the start of the pandemic. Scandinavian Airlines files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company, also known as SAS, announced the filing Tuesday, a day after 1,000 of its pilots walked off the job. SAS's CEO says the filing is not about bankruptcy, but about financial restructuring.
I want to emphasize that we are fully committed to making this process as seamless as we can. First and foremost, for our customers, we will be flying throughout the process of Chapter 11, of course for our employees and certainly also for our partners.
The airline says the move will not affect its flight schedule. And a Snapchat update includes a feature that lets people on the social media platform know a user's location. The feature is called Snap Map. When it's enabled, it will show the user's house number and street name. A company spokesperson says Snap Map is turned off by default, and if it is turned on, it only shows a person's location to mutual friends.
How exactly should one deal with coworkers not pulling their weight? Fox Business asked a group of job experts to give advice on this exact issue. They suggest approaching your coworkers first, respectfully and honestly with an open mind. Compassion also goes a long way, as various problems, including burnout or failure to understand tasks, could be the reason behind the issue. Jumping straight to higher-ups isn't advised unless you fail to see improvement after these discussions. Subway Sandwiches announcing what it's calling the biggest restructuring of its menu in the company's almost 60-year history. Beginning today, Subway's menu is separated into 4 categories: cheesesteaks, Italianos, chicken, and clubs. There are 3 sandwiches in each category, and they can be ordered by name or number. And to encourage people to try the new menu, Subway is offering free sandwiches later this month. On July 12th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. local time, participating Subway restaurants will give away up to 1 million free 6-inch sandwiches from the new menu. More people are getting ill after eating Daily Harvest lentil crumbles. The plant-based meal delivery company says nearly 500 people have reported getting sick after eating their French lentil and leek crumbles. The FDA says there have been 42 hospitalizations that are likely related to the product. People in at least 26 states have gotten sick. The company issued a recall on June 23rd. The FDA says it is investigating these reports and urges customers not to sell or eat the crumbles. Still ahead, the United Nations Food Program asking for $70 million in additional aid to help alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic. That story coming up. The UN World Food Program is appealing for millions of dollars in aid to avert a hunger crisis in the Central African Republic. The agency said the food, fuel, and fertilizer shortages triggered by Russia's war in Ukraine could have a devastating effect. More than 2 million people in the Central African Republic are already suffering from acute food insecurity.
The United Nations World Food Program is appealing urgently for $68.4 million. Without immediate funding, food and nutrition insecurity will only increase for millions of people.
The organization also says the lack of access to fuel and high transport costs has affected ground operations as teams try to get food into deficit areas before the rainy season, which cuts access to nearly half the country. A new study suggests mosquitoes prefer to bite victims already infected with certain viruses. Researchers at UConn in Connecticut studied common particles on infected animals. They tested the particles on healthy mice and on human hands. They found that mosquitoes prefer to bite mice infected compared to those who weren't. Researchers say viruses like Zika and dengue can change how the victim smells, making them more appealing to mosquitoes. Stay with us. We'll have more after the break. We want to leave you with a smile. One moose in Utah cooling off from the heat while having a little bit of fun. This video from the Utah Department of Natural Resources showing the moose jumping around and making a big splash Sunday at a reservoir in Utah. The moose then comes out and re-enters the water on the other side. Once done cooling off, the moose then made its way into the canyon. From our whole team, thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Manuel. We hope you have a great rest of your day.